When you decide to move your big toe, the planning process starts in the prefrontal cortex right over here. With help from the supplementary motor area, the motor cortex is going to take that information and initiate the process of moving the big toe. Movement of the big toe will originate from this gyrus specifically over here, where that information will then travel down through white matter structures called the corona radiata. From the corona radiata, it will travel through the posterior limb of the internal capsule. The information will travel down through the cerebral peduncle over here at the frontalmost portion of the midbrain. The signal then travels from the cerebral peduncle down towards the pons, where it will continue towards the medulla oblongata before it crosses to the contralateral side at the area called the pyramidal decussation, which means that now information starting from the left hemisphere is traveling down on the right side of the spinal cord. That signal will then exit through the spinal cord until it works its way through the spinal column within the spinal cord over here. That signal will travel through the lateral corticospinal tract, at which point it will go to the anterior spinal horn, where the upper motor neuron will meet the lower motor neuron. And these individual nerve roots will make up that lumbosacral plexus as it comes together to form the sciatic nerve as it travels down the back of the leg. The signal will then enter the common fibular nerve and then travel down to the deep fibular nerve. The deep fibular nerve will then innervate the extensor hallucis longus, which is the muscle that is responsible for extension of your big toe. At the neuromuscular junction, acetylcholine will be released to activate muscle contraction, which will then finally pull your big toe up, but the movement process does not end there. Receptors within your big toe will pick up the fact that your toe has moved. The signal will travel back through the deep fibular nerve up to the common fibular nerve, all the way back through the sciatic nerve. It will work its way back through the lumbosacral plexus, where it will finally enter the dorsal root ganglion. The signal will travel upwards through the dorsal horn. The signal will travel upwards in the posterior-most aspect of the spinal cord called the dorsal column medial lemniscus pathway. The signal will then travel all the way back up through the neck up to the craniocervical junction, where it will finally meet the medulla oblongata once again. The signal will then decussate back to the contralateral side, where it will travel up towards the thalamus. The information will then be processed through the thalamus, transferred to the posterior limb of the internal capsule, up through the corona radiata, towards this structure over here called the primary sensory cortex, to let your brain know that you successfully moved your big toe. That is how you move your big toe.